Hello everyone and welcome back to Corner Sports. I'm Albert Asnawar, and if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay tuned and see all the content that I put out. But without further ado, let's get into this weekend's football. And the first game we're going to talk about is Borussia Dortmund taking on Bayern Munich. Since Jupp Heynckes took over, this team has been undefeated. I mean, his effect on this team is undeniable. This team is playing well again, and Borussia Dortmund, on the other hand, have been awful. I mean, since the end of September, this team, I think, has only picked up one win, and they've been playing terribly. They drew twice away with a team from Cyprus. I think that says enough about how awful they've been, and they need to improve immediately. There was so much talk about their defense in the beginning of the season and how well they were playing. They were able to shut teams down. Well, if they want to come back to that conversation, it starts here against Bayern Munich. You're joint top with them. You've lost your lead, and if you want to regain it, you need to beat them at home. And I think they come up big for this game, especially with Royce and Götze now looking like they're going to be making their comeback soon, maybe within the next month. If this team is able to win this game and kick on a little bit and get their 2 stars back soon enough, I think they can still challenge for the league, even though last week I said they're pretty much done and out of it. But if they win this game, I think it becomes a lot more interesting. This will be a huge confidence booster, but it will be very hard against this Bayern team, and I predict that the score goes 2-2. I hope it's not a 2-2 game. I really do. I hope Borussia Dortmund wins, just because I want to see someone else aside from Super Bayern win the league. But you know, we'll just stick with the 2-2 draw. Next game we're going to be talking about is West Ham taking on Liverpool at the London Stadium. And this one has huge implications, especially for that man Slaven Bilic, because if he loses this one, and if they get just bamboozled like Liverpool likes to do sometimes, I think he gets sacked right afterwards. And I've called some sacks already. I've called the Coman sack. That happened. I called the Shakespeare sack. That happened. I'm calling for Montoya to be sacked soon too. It's happening. I know it's happening. And I think Slaven Bilic gets sacked after this weekend's game because, look, last week you conceded in the 96th minute. And before that, you're just not on form. The team's not playing well. And yeah, you can say that some of the key players, like key signings, have been injured, like Hernandez, for instance, who hasn't played every single game. And you know he can score goals. But nonetheless, this team has spent money. It's just not what you expect from this team, you know? Like, they're battling in the relegation zone right now, and you expect them to be, you know, at least competing for a Europa League spot. I mean, be around that 9th, 10th, 8th spot, and they're nowhere near around that. And Liverpool are coming off their second 3-0 win in a row, and it looks like this team is coming into their own. With Wijnaldum picking up an injury midweek, this team has a plethora of injuries. You look at players like Klein, Lallana, Wijnaldum, Coutinho, Mane. These are all starting players that are injured for them. Yes, this team has gone through a rough period, but you gotta understand, a lot of key players have missed throughout the season. But that's not an excuse. Football is supposed to be a game of next man up, just like any sport. If you're able to fill the role, if that's your position, you're supposed to fill the role. And nonetheless, I think Liverpool has too much for this West Ham team. I don't think they're nearly good enough to be able to shut down shop like other teams are. Their defensive record speaks to it. I think Liverpool win this one easy. 3-0, Slaven Bilic gets sacked. Let's go down to Barcelona and talk about Barcelona taking on Sevilla this week. And Sevilla, who I've criticized previously, have recently been on a decent form, picking up 3 of their last wins. And they look like a team who's back in form. They're picking up wins in the league, Champions League, Copa del Rey. And this Barcelona game is very important. Sevilla sits in 5th place. Barcelona is in 1st. They've yet to lose a game this season. However, they did play a tough away game at Olympiacos this week, and I don't know how much that goes to their mentality. I think not a lot, especially when Barcelona plays at home. You got 80,000 people cheering your name. That's always going to give you a confidence boost, but I think this Sevilla team might cause them some problems, especially because they do want to be competing for those Champions League spots, and right now, Valencia, who's the other sort of odd team out. I mean, of course, the big two Madrid teams and Barcelona are always going to be in competition for Champions League. Whereas when you look at Sevilla, they might be looking to sneak in if Valencia were to drop off. And these are the games that they want to be picking up points in. And I know for maybe the last couple of weeks, I always say, hey, Barcelona will lose this one or Barcelona won't win this one. But really, I do truly hope that this will be a 1-1 game. But odds are it won't be. Odds are Barcelona will probably win like a 3-1 game or a 2-1 game. But hey, we'll just have to wait and see. Let's go to Italy, where Fiorentina takes on Roma. Fiorentina, who haven't had the best start to their season, take on Roma, who have only lost twice this season in the league and have a game in hand, and they'll look to beat Fiorentina, which is, by the way, a rival match. Fiorentina might be missing their top goal scorer, and I'm definitely going to pronounce his French name wrong, Cyril Thoreau, who has scored 6 goals for them this season, but he's a 34-year-old striker. And look, when this team beat Milan, I thought they could kick on and do something better this season than what they've done so far, but that hasn't been the case. And Roma, who are coming off of an amazing 3-0 win against Chelsea, and they look like a team who is dedicated to being that top 3. I think they'll go away and beat Fiorentina 2-1. El Shaarawy, who's looking like he's trying to rejuvenate his career at Roma, will be looking to get on a score sheet yet again, and looks like he's hitting form right now, and that can only spell wonders for Roma. I'm actually really excited to see how this team lines up. They love to play that 4-3-3, and when you got Perotti and El Shaarawy and Dzeko right in the middle, it looks very dangerous. And then when they're whipping in crosses to their big man, you know he can finish them, and this Fiorentina defense is awful at headers. So I'm looking for a Dzeko header goal. You know, I was just watching that game on YouTube. Yeah, that Arsenal game that was on YouTube, and they played a terrible 0-0 draw at home. And I understand first squad wasn't on, but you still have players like Wilshere and Giroud on. I mean, you're looking to create against a team from God knows where and God knows what position, playing God knows what players, and it's Europa League, man. Like, you're Arsenal, you're supposed to be winning. But they played on Thursday, and Man City traveled to Napoli, and I mean, they just did the business. Aguero is now the top goal scorer in Manchester City history. I'm not gonna sit here and criticize this team. Honestly, I think Manchester City is gonna run all over Arsenal. Just like I predicted Arsenal to lose to Watford, because that's the type of team they are. The type of team Arsenal that I know, the Arsenal that I'm familiar with, is they'll go away to City and they'll get completely bamboozled, like a 4-1 score or something. Look for Sterling to score again. That man has been on fire. He is scoring for fun. Everyone in that team is scoring for fun. And I think they're just gonna kill Arsenal this week. It'll be a statement game for them, as if they need another one. They're beating teams left, right, and center. And a 4-1 victory for City. I expect nothing from Arsenal in this game. They don't have the cojones. Possibly one of my favorite games this week is Chelsea versus Manchester United, which promises to be a good one. You know, hey, if anything I know about Jose Mourinho, he would love to go to Stanfford Bridge and pick up a 1-0 win where they had like 2 shots on target, and somehow Lukaku scored in the 87th minute, and then they would just frustrate the fuck out of Conte. That's what he wants. None of that, like, if somebody walked up to Mourinho today and said, hey, would you rather beat Chelsea at home 4-0 or win a 1-0 tight game, Mourinho would be like, I'll take a 1-0 tight win. And Chelsea, who look abysmal without Conte, I mean, how integral is he to that midfield? And how was he not in the best 11 of the world? Iniesta? Are you kidding me? Ah, FIFA, it's so frustrating. Chelsea, like I said, took a beating in Rome, took a 3-0 loss, and that defense looked atrocious. If you want, I mean, there's videos online of them just ball chasing. There's no man marking. There's no sort of line. It was just embarrassing. It was schoolyard defense. My college team is better than that. And my college team sucks. This will be a big game for Jose Mourinho and Conte alike. They've been exchanging a few words back and forth through the press, and so I expect no handshakes after the game, especially if Chelsea end up winning, but I just don't see it happening right now, especially with Conte not being in that midfield. Bakayoko has just not worked out the way they thought they would, and selling Matic was terrible, and he's traveling for the first time back into his old team. It'll be a good game to watch. Fabregas is not that guy. Can't pair him with Bakayoko. It's just not working out right. And the defense is just shambolic, and going forward, they didn't look good as well. Missing Diego Costa for sure. And Conte could suffer that, you know, second season sack after winning the league. Happened to Mourinho, happened to Ranieri, could possibly happen to Conte. We'll see. After this weekend, he doesn't pick up a win, has a couple of poor results, he'll probably go down before Christmas. But I am predicting, like I said, a solid 1-0 win for Manchester United. Now you obviously see, you see this, right? I mean, when I was studying in Spain, I went to a few Real Madrid games. I'm a huge Cristiano Ronaldo fan. I've been following the guy since 04. When I watched the Euros, he cried, I cried, and I was like, that's the guy. That's who I started watching this damn game with, and ever since I haven't stopped. And they've been on poor form. But you know what? Real Madrid is one of those teams, and the players especially, that when they're down and everyone is kicking them, they're so eager to prove everyone wrong that they go on an amazing run. And you know what players have come out and said, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that excites me. And they're playing Las Palmas this week, and I'm not expecting much from Las Palmas, although last time these two teams played, Las Palmas did cause them some problems. Although I'm not expecting that to happen this week. I think Real Madrid pick up a very convincing 4-0 win against Las Palmas at home, and Las Palmas won't have anything to offer, and Real Madrid will look to kick on with their season. And especially if Barca drops some points, which Real Madrid needs them to, this will be a big week for both of those teams. And because I'm in a slight hurry, the last game I'm going to cover is River Plate taking on Boca Juniors in the biggest game in the world. Some may say certainly the biggest game in Argentina. I'm excited to watch this one. It's at 4 o'clock. I'll definitely be tuning in to watch it because, hell, I have nothing else to do. River Plate have allowed 8 goals in the last 2 games and have only scored 2 goals. And they haven't had the best start to the season, sitting pretty in 9th place, whereas Boca have had an amazing start to the season so far. They've picked up 7 out of 7 wins in the league so far, scoring 19 and only conceding 1 goal. That is an amazing record to have, and going away to River Plate, I'm so fascinated to see how these two teams play, because all form goes out the window, especially in this game. I'm expecting red cards, goals, fights, flares thrown on the fan fights, everything and anything in between. This is the type of game that this will happen in, and I am so stoked about it. And I'm having a hard time predicting the score because I can see a draw happening. I don't see Boca losing, especially with their amazing defensive record thus far this season. But I also see Boca winning because they have won 7 out of 7, and why not make it 8 out of 8? So maybe I'll go for a cheeky 2-1 Boca win and watch this game. Please do yourself a favor. If you are going to watch any game this week, it should be this one because it'll be a great one. Thank you all so much for coming back to Corner Sports. Once again, let me know your thoughts below. Are you watching any games this week? Who is your team? Who are they playing? What do you think the score is going to be? Go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.